Hello everyone, this is Isra Yusuf and I'm going to explain for you the adverbs and negatives. This is for grade 8 at Finnish Systems Schools. The outcomes that are expected for you students to have after this lesson is that you are going to be able to identify adverbs, to understand when to use an adverb, in a sentence, to know the negatives, what are the negatives, and to be able to express the sentence by using negatives. This is actually the outcomes that are expected for you to have after this lesson. Now, let's talk about an adverb. This is actually from your grammar booklets, page 29. An adverb. An adverb is a word that describes a verb. So, an adverb is a word that can describe a verb, which is describing a verb, and it also can describe an adjective or another adverb. So it can describe a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So an adverb, it can describe like verb, adjective, or another adverb. So what do you mean by an adverb? And you have some examples here. The first one, which describes a verb. Slowly, the hot air balloon rose. So slowly here is to describe how the balloon rose. The verb, which is rose, which is the past simple, the past tense of the verb rise. So slowly here describes the verb rose. Okay, how did it rose? Slowly. Okay. Another example about describing an adjective. The day was very windy. The day was very windy. Here, windy is an adjective which describes the day. Okay, and here very, which describes the adjective. So here we have an adverb which describes an adjective, which is here in this example, windy. Describes an adverb. We saw it extremely high. Here, high, it is actually an adverb. Okay, it is actually an adverb. So extremely here is to describe high. So we have an adverb which describes another adverb. So you have this example. So actually, an adverb, when you have an adverb in your sentence, that what does it mean? That it describes either a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Okay. Now, most adverbs tell you how, when, or where an action happened. So this is actually an adverb which describes the verbs by telling you how, when, or an action happened or takes place. Okay, this is in adverbs, and many adverbs end in ly. Many adverbs, but not all adverbs. So many adverbs end in ly, but not all of adverbs. You should take this in your consideration. Notice that adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. We have many examples, and the adverb can come before or after the verb it describes. And the adverb describes the verb by telling you how, when, or where. You have these three words. So you have examples here. How the balloon easily rose. How the balloon rose easily. You answer me easily. So we used here how to so that it can tell us what is the adverb, what is which here describes the adverb easily, which describes the verb rose. When recently we flew in the balloon. When did we flew in the balloon? Recently. So recently here tells you a time. It talks about time. So when recently. Where we flew the balloon westward. Where did we fly the balloon? Westward. So where it actually tells us a place, something called something related to a place. So this is actually what adverbs tell you. So adverbs can tell us when, where, or how, according to the verb it describes. In some adverbs, you have here another adverbs which can describe the question how much. So you can like use how much. So some adverbs describe the verb by using how much. For here, the example is we were very excited. How much were we excited? Very. So we were very excited. So very here, we can ask how much. So you can ask to know the adverb. You can ask by using how, when, where, how much, according to the sentence you have and the verb you have. There are some adverbs that tells you how, when, where, and how much. You have, for example, how. You can use the adverb quietly, suddenly, slowly, together. When, we can use always, eventually, sometimes soon. Where, which is far, nearby, south, there. How much, you can use extremely, quite, rather, and very. So it is actually about the meaning you have in each, and you can ask these questions. So this is actually what do you mean by an adverb. Adverb is a word that can describe a verb, adjective, or another adverb, and the adverb comes before and after the verb. And if the adverb is describing the verb, we use the words how, when, where, or how much to know what the adverb is actually describing, what the adverb is describing. Now you have this practice, which is practice A at page 29 in your grammar booklet. You have sentences. So this practice actually wants you to circle the adverb that describes the verb or adjective or the adverb, and to write whether the adverb tells you how, where, when, or how much. The first one is already done. So you have our hot air balloon, right, was very exciting. So here our hot air balloon, right, was very exciting. Here you have the adverb exciting, and you have another adverb which is very is describing another adverb which is exciting. So you have here adverb describing an adverb. So we are going here to answer by using the question, which is how much, to know how much did our hot air balloon how much exciting our hot air balloon ride was. So you're going to answer very. So this is what you're going to do in these sentences. You're going to circle the adverb, and you have the bold, which is, it can be a verb, can be an adjective, can be an adverb, and you're going to circle the adverb and tell me whether the adverb tells you how, when, where, or how much. This is actually continued to the sentences you have in practice A. So this is a homework. You should do it on Sunday, which is 22nd March. I'm waiting for your homeworks so that I can check them. Okay. Now let's move to practice B. Practice B is actually a homework, but you should hand it on Monday. I should have it on Monday. This exercise wants you to circle the adverb in each sentence and to underline the adverb that describes it. The word that adverb describes it. So you have the first sentence. I already do it for you so that you can understand it better. The balloon floated slowly over our town. Here you have the adverb, which is slowly, and slowly is actually describing the verb, which is floated. How did it float? It floated slowly. So this is actually an adverb describing a verb, which is he in this sentence floated. So you should do this in each sentence. You should circle the adverb and to underline the verb, adjective, or another adjective that it describes. Okay, this is a homework on Monday. Don't forget to do it so that I can check them. Now let's move to another thing, which is the negatives. you negatives, we have heard a lot of negatives, which means no. Okay, you have here the words no, not, nothing, none, never, no one, nowhere, and nobody. These words are all negatives. We call them negatives. Negatives, which means no. Okay. Contractions with not, such as when, doesn't, and haven't, are also negatives. When you have contractions with not, is not, or not, does not, have not, and will not, and so on, these are considered as negatives also. The word not is an adverb. So here you have a word which is considered an adverb, which is not. Okay, so not here is an adverb. Now let's look at the sentences you have on your page, which is page 31. You have here before 1880, there were no cars. So no here is a negative, which means that no cars, that there was no cars, none, no, like none, no cars, like no even one, before 1880s. No one had invented the automobile, so no one had invented, so this is in negative, which means no. Cars were not popular until later, so what not here is considered as negative also. So actually, a negative idea is to express by using one negative word. So you should not use like double negative, because if you use double negative, so it means that you don't have a negative. So you shouldn't use only one. Okay, one negative word. So here you have in your page an example which is incorrect. None of the cars had no tops. Here you have two negatives, which is none and no. So this is actually incorrect. You should not use two negatives in one sentence. We have here none of the cars had tops, which is the correct sentence. Or we can use none of the cars had any tops. Any here is not a negative. It does not mean negative, okay? So we can use like a negative word with a positive word, but we can't use two negative words in the same sentence. So here we have, if we have a double negative sentence, it can be corrected by even dropping one negative word or changing one of the negative words to a positive word. You have here a table which tells you what are the negative words and what are the positive words. You should be familiar with them. Negative words which are no, none, nothing, never, no one, nobody, nowhere. So these are actually negative words. Positive words which are any, anything, ever, anyone, anybody, and anywhere. These are actually the positive words. So we can use a negative word with a positive word in the same sentence, but we can't use two negative words in the same sentence. And that can correct a double negative sentence by even dropping one negative word, one of the negative words, or I can like replace one of the negative words with the positive words. Okay, now we have the practice A, which is on your page 31 and 32. This is actually practice. This practice wants you to write the negative word in each sentence. So this is actually what I want you to do, is to write the negative word in each sentence you have. This is a homework on Wednesday, 25th of March. This is actually homework on Wednesday. So you should do it, and so that I can check them. I'm waiting for your homework. You should to write the negative word in each sentence, okay? And the first one is already done. 100 years ago, no one believed carts would replace horses. So no one here is the negative word, okay? Here, practice B, which wants to to write the word in parentheses that correctly completes each sentence. So here you have like 2 words in the parentheses, and you're going to write the word that correctly completes the sentence. I have already done this practice, but I want you to stay with me so that I can explain each sentence. In 1900, most Americans could not afford no or any kind of car. This is actually could not. You have here a negative word. Could not afford, and I can't use no. I can't use double negative word, so I'm going to choose any. So any is the correct one. The second sentence, nobody rich people never or ever bought cars. Here you have nobody. Nobody is actually a negative word, and I can't use 2 negative words in the same sentence. And never is actually a negative word. So I'm going to circle ever. The third sentence, Henry Ford's factory wasn't nothing like other factories. Henry Ford's factory, here I don't have a negative word, so I'm going to choose was. So Henry Ford's factory was nothing like other factory. Okay, so this is actually nothing. Here you have a negative word which is nothing, so I'm going to use was. Okay, and I can use 2 double negative words which is wasn't here. Ford's Model T cars cost more than $500. So Ford's Model T car costs no more than $500. I don't have a negative word, so I can put no here. No one resists those prices. No one could, because I have already a negative word and I can't put could not. I can't put double negative words, so no one could resist those prices. His factory did not stop making new cars. His factory did not, you have a negative word, ever stop making new cars. Soon you could not go anywhere without seeing cars. Soon you could not go. You have a negative word which is could not. Anywhere without seeing cars. Nowhere, because it is a negative word and I can't use double negative words in the same sentence. Gas stations appeared where none had existed before, because here you don't have a negative word and I can use one. None. With paved highways, it was no problem driving anywhere, because you have already negative words which is no problem, and so I'm going to use anywhere, and because I can't use double negative words in the same sentence. There was no end to new gadgets in cars either. So here, because I have a negative word which is no end, and so I can't use double negative words in the same sentence, I'm going to choose was, because wasn't is a negative word. Many Americans would not drive anything or nothing but a big car. Would not is actually a negative word, so I'm going to choose anything which is not a negative word, which is a positive word. Because I can't use nothing because it is a negative word. They do not have any no worries about the cost of gasoline. They do not have any, because I already have a negative word, any worries about the cost of gasoline. So this is actually the main idea of this exercise, that you can't have double negative words in the same sentence. You should not have double negative words in the same sentence. If you have a double negative word in the words in the same sentence, you should either drop one of the negative words or to replace the negative word with a positive word. The lesson has ended. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please don't forget to do your homeworks. I'm going to check them, and please check your weekly plan, because you have each homework. You have when to do each homework. Stay safe. This is your teacher, Isra Yusuf, and bye-bye.